How's it going, everybody? This is Travis Platt Reviews, and today we're going to be reviewing the third studio album from Post Hardcore and Swancore band Eidola, To Speak to Listen. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for watching. I do reviews, lo-fi edits, and topic videos. So, if you like what you hear, you can go ahead and click the subscribe button, give this video a like, and comment down below. So, let's go ahead and get into the review. Eidola is an ambient post-hardcore and swancore band from Salt Lake City, Utah, formed in 2011. They also have influences from progressive metal, experimental rock, math rock, and post-rock. As of recording, the band has over 50,000 monthly listeners on Spotify alone. The band is currently signed to Blue Swan Records, owned by Will Swan, the guitarist of Dance Gavin Dance, and they have released 2 albums with the label. Andrew Wells, the vocalist for Eidola, has been listed as a touring and studio guitarist for Dance Gavin Dance since 2015. Sergio Medina, who has played in bands Stolas, Royal Coda, Sianvar, and Nova Charisma, joined Eidola in 2018. Eidola is planning on releasing their 4th studio album, The Architect, in 2020. The first single is rumored to feature John Mess, the unclean vocalist of Dance Gavin Dance. The band, despite having a smaller fan base in perspective, have a very dedicated and passionate fan base. Their merch drops sell out immediately. They have a Facebook group, Templeposting, that talk about their love of the band and similar bands in the scene, as well as breaking down lyrics and discussing the motives and stories in the songs. I felt as I was a little late to the Eidola fanbase as I started listening to them in early 2018, but I immediately fell in love with their music. I fell in love with the contrast of strong and catchy hooks and the intricate technical ability that the band displays, and the overarching story that the band tells, which we'll explain a little more later. I remember falling in love with all of the Swancore bands around the same exact time, seeing so much talent in one small group of bands, but Eidola always stuck out to me as something much different, as they were much more atmospheric and serious in tone, and this was especially noticeable in their 2015 album, Degeneratera. But what gravitated me to the band primarily was the amount of talent throughout the band, specifically the vocal ability by both Andrew Wells and Matthew Dahmer, who contribute the clean and unclean vocals. The drums are also especially very well done by Matthew Hansen. Overall, all members of the band are excellent at their instruments and they come together to make great music. Sergio Medina joined the band in 2018, and The Architect, the rumored 4th album from the band, will be his debut, and I am very excited to see how he will contribute his unbelievable guitar ability to the band. I have yet to see Eidola live, but I was supposed to see them open for Scary Kids Scaring Kids in June, but then COVID happened and the show was postponed. So hopefully it will be rescheduled so I can see the stacked lineup that also features the classic Crime and Picturesque. If you'd like to see me do a review of the new Picturesque album, Do You Feel Okay? Comment below. Before we jump into dissecting this album lyrically and conceptually, I want to send a special thank you to Marcus Rodriguez, who posted a bunch of very detailed descriptions of these songs on Templeposting. This review would not be possible without him. This album had 2 singles. The first is Amplissimus Machina, the 5th song on the album. This song has a much more Swancore-inspired approach compared to other songs the band has released, and they have taken inspiration from their label mates while still sounding fresh and unique. The drums are especially well done on this song, and Andrew's vocals reach some of the highest notes on the entire album. Lyrically, the song discusses the belief of being able to convert human consciousness into data to put onto a server, ultimately creating immortality. The protagonist of the album is outwardly against the belief throughout the song, saying to decode the great machine. The song also potentially brings up the harms of social media and our overuse on technology, but in the concept of the album, there's a different message, which is the protagonist of the album and his exploration of Pantheism, which is the belief that God is the universe and the universe is God. I would love to explain the historical and theological aspects of this album, but in the time we have for this review, I just can't do it. So if you'd like me to do a full-length video dissecting the historical and theological aspects of this album, go ahead and comment below. The second and lead single from the album is Tetelestai, which opens with a singular guitar in Andrew's voice, and it feels calming, starting with the lyric, "Pull yourself together." The Greek word Tetelestai is Greek for "it is finished," which were the final words of Jesus Christ, according to the Gospel of John in the Bible. This song has one of my favorite lyrics of all time, which is "Everyone listens in tongues," which is a reference to Pentecostal Christians who believe in speaking in tongues. My perception of the lyric is that everything that is said is translated from the speaker's voice to the listener's ears into the listener's brain, and each person perceives each message differently, like speaking in another tongue. This song heavily details the protagonist exploring the Christian psyche, especially in the angelic final stanza. Sometimes looking at a religion and the beliefs they have in a vague sense seems strange to an outsider, and those that critically analyze things may not understand it quite like those that have lived it their entire lives. Instrumentally, the song is excellent, with a great level of groove with the primary riff. The unclean vocals really push this song for me personally, and they help escalate the song before dropping into more atmospheric parts in the middle of the song. Andrew once again shows his excellent vocal ability throughout, and the vocal layering at the end is haunting. This album starts off with the track "The Abstract of a Planet and Resolve," which is the most Swancore-esque sounding song the band has ever made, and it starts the album with a roar, and really starts us with what to expect in terms of quality. One thing I noticed about this album is that, to me, it feels split in half in terms of sound. The first 5 tracks are very much a new direction for the band, much less atmospheric and more Swancore sounding. And it highlights the power the band has to write strong hooks, and it gives Andrew and Matthew room to show their vocals much more. The choruses are especially more memorable than anything the band has released, and especially the chorus in Querence, which is one of my favorites in the entire genre. And the ending of the song is incredible, hearing Andrew show his higher range, which he is not a stranger of showing on this album. After these 5 songs, track 6, Loti, starts, and this song has the ability to change any person that listens to it, and it completely changes the album. This is a more reserved side of the band, and it's a truly beautiful ballad. Lyrically, the song is the least intelligent with vocabulary, and much more introspective in its simple terms, which allows us, the listeners, to connect with it easier. This song, conceptually speaking, helps us understand what the protagonist's role is in their discography, but this could easily be taken personally for what our role is on this earth, which we're always constantly trying to figure out. The line, is truly haunting, and will resonate with any listener. After Loti, the Eidola most notable in previous works shines through, but a more mature sound and clean production is there. Dendrochronology has an extended atmospheric bridge with Andrew's voice deep into the mix of the song. The more rugged side of Andrew is very prominent in the song The Familiar, and the song shows the protagonist exploring paganism to counter the monotheistic religions. This song is a plea for help to the spirits to help on his quest, which is ultimately to redeem mankind. Structurally, this song lets Matthew go crazy on vocals, and it's a much more aggressive approach in comparison to the other tracks on the album, and that may contrast with Paganism from monotheism. The transition into House's Movement 3, Rust Rebuild, is excellent, and Andrew's vocals are complemented with a nice groove, which reminds me of Humble Ledger from Degenitera, which is the band's most popular song. Sri Vishnu Yantra is the most similar to previous works, with a ton of atmospheric ambience and a spoken word bit at the end. This song also transitions into the 2 final tracks very well, and the closing track makes me feel like the album has come full circle, with energy coming back and lots of great groove moments. This song is an excellent closer, and the end of the chorus mentioning the Master's Hand really makes me think of Super Smash Bros. And the boss, Master Hand. I know that really wasn't the intention, but it's still an association that I can't shake. This album ends on an extremely high note, and I could honestly talk about this album for so much longer. So if you'd like to hear me make an in-depth lyrical and conceptual analysis of this album, go ahead and comment below. Eidola created an album with a lot of layers, which gives fans something to dive deeply into as we wait for the fourth album, The Architect. Thanks for watching.